Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I'm Tiana Ibrahimovic.
And I'm Cicely Daniels.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talks segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like this episode.
In this episode, we are so happy to have a Bridal Fall 2025 Roundup from Fashion Reverie style editor, Renessta Olds. We also have Fashion Reverie associate editor, Sydney Yeagerwho, who will discuss her editor's pick of the Fall 2024 collections. But let's start with fashion news. All of our news segments are based on the fashion news alerts found on fashionreverie.com.
So let's jump into the current events in fashion. I am going to start off with Eddie Slimane announcement of his departure from Celine. We love Celine. It's a beautiful brand, and he's been with them for a while and has since introduced the menswear, couture, and high-end perfumery. So because of his influence, Celine sort of got this new boost and refreshment as a brand, and a great foundation for the future. So the brand did become very large, as it always was in the past, but it just changed a little bit of the look and the approach. So let's see what is next and who is going to come to Celine, but also where is Eddie going to go?
Yeah.
Because there are some rumors that he might go to Chanel, but never know. So,
ooh. Well, I do love Celine, so just in case anyone from Celine is ever watching us and they ever need to send us things to wear, we will always be excited.
Right.
So I am excited to talk about the theme for the 2025 Met Gala. Now, as we know, each year there is a new and exciting theme, and this year it will be about Black dandyism, about the history and the fashion influence. And this was a cultural shift where Black individuals transformed with greater autonomy and became much more influential across the globe. And this is one of the first times that the Met Gala will present an exhibit showcasing the work of fashion designers of color. And menswear is also going to be a focus. The co-chairs of the Met Gala will be Anna Wintour, Pharrell Williams, Coleman Domingo, Lewis Hamilton, and A$AP Rocky. And it seems like it's going to be very, very exciting. I think it's going to be fresh, and I'm excited to see, what gorgeous things we get to see. Hopefully we'll just be in attendance, right?
Well, Met Gala is always very exciting. And one of the former very exciting shows was Victoria's Secret show that kind of went silent for a little bit. So next week in New York City, they will debut the Victoria's Secret Atelier, and Joseph Altuzarra has a new job. So he will be the first guest designer in residence for Victoria's Secret Atelier. So we will see how this show will look like. Everyone is very curious. We will see which direction they're going to take. I do think they definitely have to keep some of their old elements that, Victoria's Secret is known for. I hope they do bring Victoria's Secret angels. Let's see in which form. So
Yeah. Well, it's all very exciting. That is it for us this week for the fashion news. But if you want to stay up to date, you know where to go. Go to fashionreverie.com. I am so excited to introduce Renessta Olds, and I love Bridal Week. So Renessta, that's why I get to talk to you, because I loved being a bride. I love looking at things related to brides every year. So I'm excited to get into fall 2025. What was your overall impression, would you say, of New York Bridal Week fall 2025?
Thank you, Cicely. I'm so happy to even be on to discuss it. I too, from a child, love bridal, all things bridal, everything pretty, everything feminine, floaty gowns. I love attending bridal fashion week just to see the collections, just to see the luxury, just to drink champagne, just to walk around and be in the element, right? Because it's a different feel from New York Fashion Week. So my overall thoughts of it: beauty, luxury, sophistication, femininity, all things pretty. So
Mm.
I'm just right in my element.
Just you talking about it just makes me feel like I'm also feeling that bridal week. Like it is just it's very special, and there's that femininity and elegance that you get to see is so lovely. Could you talk about Yulia Lobachova's fall 2025 bridal collection?
It was absolutely stunning. It was gorgeous. A
Mm.
standout collection full of 3D laser cuts, petals, sheer, splits all the way up the leg. I wanted to say thigh high, but I think they were even a little bit past thigh high. But she put them on the side for a little coverage. But you better be toning up and working out to stick that leg out in some of her gowns. So it was just a gorgeous collection, very modern, very young, very fresh, very sexy, edgy, and it literally
Yes.
sounds like money. RICH is what her
That
collection looks like.
That is so great. But, it depends on that. That's one of the things about being a bride. And as an individual, it's a chance for you to really express what you want to show off. And so for those that are bringing a little sex appeal and they want to show off a little leg or a little, I liked that it was skin, but there was still like a little coverage if you choose a certain dress. You know what I mean?
Because the split wasn't directly in front, it was off to
Yeah.
the side. You
Yeah.
had you were covered, but if you took a walk or if you just kind of turned the wrong way, you were going to get a nice, a
Yeah,
nice sneak peek.
exactly. Then you could show off a little bit. Give the future spouse a little hint of what they're going to get. um, let's pivot to I'm not sure, is it Iden Cohen?
Hayden Cohen, yes.
Okay, Iden Cohen, great.
So
What did
I
you
love
think?
his collection. He is a darling. He's become a fan favorite. Everyone is always looking forward to seeing his show. And this year's collection was inspired by the Greek goddess
Mm,
Anthea, who's the goddess of gardens. And you saw that in the collection. There was floaty, there was florals, there was sheer, there were beautiful silhouettes. And all of that translated in the materials that he chose to use for his craftsmanship, like crepes and lace and silks and organza, all the luxury materials that you look forward to seeing in a gown, but just
oh,
constructed in such a way that it didn't look stiff and heavy. It looked airy. It looked goddess-like, very floaty.
yes. Yes, well, I guess if you are looking for a goddess like dress, then that might be this collection might be where you would look. Lastly, can you give me your impression of the Nardos Fall 2025 bridal collection?
She is when we hear Nadas, when we see the invitation list and the guest list, I'm like, oh, I hope I get invited to Nadas. I hope I get invited to Nadas. The collection was stunning as usual. It kind of felt familiar, like something that we haven't seen before. It gave you vintage, it gave you retrospective, and you spoke
Mhm.
about that earlier, like loving bridal since a young girl. And that's what
Yes.
you see on is like when I saw it, I was like, I love this. I've always loved this. This is my dream dress. But it also
Mhm.
felt fresh and modern. So it was familiar, but yet fresh at the same time.
Yes. Oh, that is lovely. Well, I obviously we need to be going to some of these bridal shows together because we'll both be living our best life. Thank you so much for these descriptions, and hopefully for anybody who might actually be bridal shopping, it gives you a little hint of which way to go, and also remember that bridal is not only for brides. So surely in all of these collections, you can find some other great options. So thank you so much, Renessta, for joining us this week. I really appreciate it. And I hope we get to see you again.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my absolute pleasure.
Yay.
So every fall, there's so many fashion collaborations. So our associate editor, Sydney Yeager, has curated some innovative and interesting fall 2024 collaborations. Welcome, Sydney, to Fashion Reverie Talks.
Hi there. As you mentioned, collaborations are really a dime a dozen.
Well, I'm glad we have you to pick out the best ones for us. So, how did you come up with these interesting fall 2024 collaboration choices?
Some of them I'd seen on social media, and some of them were just brands that we all adore at Fashion Reverie. So we kind of got a little sneak peek into them or press releases, and I was like, oh, I really like these. These ones aren't boring, or they aren't a food brand collaborating with a fashion brand where you're just sitting there wondering why it makes sense or if it does.
Right. So there is, let's start with a very interesting combination. So Alice and Olivia and Beat. So tell me about that collaboration.
While it sounds a little bit shocking for a band and a brand to work together, this is Alice and Olivia and the Beatles' second collaboration. They did their first one back in 2018, and they used some of the iconic symbols and lyrics from the Beatles into their clothing. And because of the poppiness and kind of avant-garde but still classic details of Alice and Olivia as a brand, it really does work together with a sort of cohesion that is just amazing.
I love it. I love it. From what I've seen, I would wear all of it because it's like the cuteness with edginess, the
I know,
combination.
I love they have a Here Comes the Sun shirt, and it's so cute.
Yes. So could you elaborate on Gorewear's new thermal designs as well?
Yes. So Gorewear is an athletic brand that is very well known for their spin, cycling, and running collections. But as any athlete can attest, it's very difficult to work out in cold weather, even if you are hot, as you start to work up a sweat. So Gorewear has expanded their collection to include thermal leggings as well as thermal coats. They also have added more details to their raincoats as well. So this new extension isn't necessarily a collaboration, but it's more of an innovation with what they already have. And that's why I added it to the list, just because everybody should be aware, especially if you're New York based, to stay warm when you're working out.
Yes, I'm already feeling cold, so I might have to start getting, prepared with some thermal clothing.
Well, we know the brand now.
Yes, exactly. So, lastly, could you talk about Splendid and Salad Jane Block?
I think it's Chella Jane Vlog, but it's from Becky Hillard, who's a lifestyle influencer. And Splendid is a brand that we already know at Fashion Reverie. They do have a lot of sophisticated items, but they're under $200 for the most part, even though the material is very nice and luxurious. So it's a brand that we really do like. And they've collaborated with this lifestyle influencer to create a fall collection. There's 33 pieces to it, and all of them focus on an earth tone color palette so they can be interchanged. You don't feel like you have to buy every single item to make it work, and you can really work it throughout your wardrobe or even the pieces in the collection itself.
Yeah, I love it. I think a lot more people are understanding that you do need those basic colors. And yes, thank you for correcting me because I wasn't sure how to pronounce the.
I mean, I could be wrong too.
It is Stella Jane Blog.
I believe so. I could be wrong as well.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us and for the rest of Sydney's choices. Please go to fashionreverie.com.
Bye, Tiana.
Well, viewers, that's it for this episode of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank Fashion Reverie style editor Renessta Olds and Fashion Reverie associate editor Sydney Yeager.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Now, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you the next time.